What is going on, everyone? Welcome once again to the Bass Kayak and Beers podcast. As always, it's your boy Armando. Glad to have you join the podcast today. Today, it's gonna be either October 13th or, no, I'm recording. I always get this mixed up. It's October 13th today. I'm recording today. This episode is either gonna come out the 18th of October or the 25th of October. The reason why I mentioned that is because there's been some developments in the national trail with Pickwick and some accusations of cheating and all that. I'm sure most of you, regardless of when this episode comes out, most of you have heard about this. I am going to talk about that. I've already talked to Drew Gregory about it. I already talked to some of the people involved in the protest, and I have a lot of things to say about it. But I'm waiting for some other information to come down the line before I express my full opinion on it. So, assuming this came out the 25th of October, go check out the episode that aired on the 18th of October. I should be the one talking about whatever happened. If nothing comes out down the pipeline between the 13th and the 18th, then I'll probably air that episode the 25th. So that's in the works. For this episode, though, I have Randy Dodson. If you don't know Randy Dodson, he's one of the best kayak anglers here in Texas. He's always done pretty well at tournaments such as the Lonestar Throwdown. Last year, he did pretty well. This year, he actually won the Lonestar Throwdown, which is by far the biggest tournament we have here in Texas. This year, it was 187 anglers. We were fishing Belton or Stillhouse Lake. And I got a few things that I have to say about that tournament. First of all, thank you to Duke Tran, everybody at Marinade Sales, all their sponsors like Western Vodka, the cooks. The food was amazing. The atmosphere was awesome. The tournament was great. The fishing was tough, but it was fun. It was good. I do have some things that I want to get off my chest. First of all, as much as I love and respect Duke Tran, I for the life of me I cannot understand why we insist with the tournament or angler tournament app. I am not gonna pull punches on this. That app is crap, and it showed its rear face again on tournament day, and it really made a whole mess out of an otherwise great event. And I'm going to explain what happened. So somewhere down the line, doing halfway through the tournament, the app goes offline, drops, crashes, whatever you want to call it. I had already submitted my first 3 fish. At the end of the day, my first fish was my biggest fish. The other 2 that I submitted early in the morning were cold, or one of them was cold. After the iAngler app crashed, I couldn't upload my my 4th and 5th fish. So once the app went back online, I submitted my 4th and 5th fish. And I noticed that the app said I had no fish logged. And I was like, that's weird, because I remember early in the morning submitting my first 3 fish. So I had to resubmit my first 3 fish and plus the other 2 fish I caught once the Angler app was back. And then I called one of my small fish from the morning and another fish and my 5th fish. So I stuck around for the awards to find out if it was going to be in the money. I ended up with 75 and 3/4 inch. When they announced the 18th place, which was the last one in the money, he had 76 something inches. So I figured I'm not going to stick around. It's taking long enough. I had a almost 3-hour drive home. So I went home. Halfway home, I talked to my buddy Charlie Wells, and he congratulated me because I ended up in 13th place. I'm like, I don't think that's right, but I was like, oh, great. Maybe I didn't do my math right because I'm an idiot, and math is not my thing. And I'm in 13th place, so I get a check. So I get home. I'm excited. I looked at the leaderboard. I looked at my account. My account shows 7 fish, the 7 fish that I caught. On the leaderboard, it says that I caught 10 fish. And it entered my biggest bass twice. I don't know why. So I entered my first 3 fish before the crash. After the crash, it shows on my account that I had no bass entered or no fish entered. So I re-entered them. So I didn't submit it twice. As far as I was concerned, it erased it. So I would never submit a fish twice. As soon as I saw that, and as soon as I saw that it counted my big fish twice, I messaged Duke Trent. It was late in the evening, and I apologize. Hey, Duke, I'm sorry I'm messing you this late, but before this goes any further, it shows that I have 78 plus inches and I'm at 13th place. That is not accurate. I should have 75 and 3/4. And once you take me out of 13th place and move everybody up one spot, I should have ended up at 18th place, which is in the money. I think the last one in the money. I have Duke received the message. He thanked me for reporting it. Said he will get back to me. I haven't heard since. I haven't heard anything since. This is Thursday. It still shows me in the 13th spot as of right now. But I hope they get that fixed. So if you already been paid, contact Duke Trent. Make sure that got solved out because I don't want to get money that I'm not owed. I may get a $50 check for 18th place, but I'm definitely not in 13th place, so I shouldn't get that money. Anyways, I just want to get that out there, and hopefully they get it solved. Other than that, tournament was great. Big thank you to Duke Trent, the kitchen crew, the beer, the Western Sun vodka, everything. It was amazing. Great tournament. Before we bring in our next guest, quick thank you to Douglas Rod. Go to douglasoutdoors.com. Check out their full lineup of LRS, X Matrix, and award-winning 5 fishing rods. These rods are amazing. That's all I carry on my fly fishing rods. On my conventional spinning rods are Douglas rods. I love them. They're great rods, and they're at a fair price. So go check it out, douglasoutdoors.com. We're going to a quick Waypoint commercial, and then we'll bring Randy Dodson right in. Mr. Randy Dodson, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast, and so thank you for taking the time. I know you probably had a busy schedule, so I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
So, Randy, before we dive into your big win, and again, congratulations. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Randy. What do you actually do for a living, and how did you end up getting into kayak fishing and tournament fishing?
Well, I'm a machinist. I've been a machinist since I was 22.
Oh, wow.
I worked at the same shop in Georgetown for 21 years. I'm 61. I used to bass fish a whole lot, tournament fish, and fished in big boats and clubs around Abilene, Texas. And about 21, 22 years ago, I quit. My wife wanted me to quit. I was never home on the weekends and everything, so I quit it, and no regrets. Started again about 2.5, 3 years ago, and I got a kayak. And last year, actually, in the throwdown last year, it was the first kayak tournament I fished, and it kind of got my blood going again to do the competitive fishing. And I fished a couple of tournament trails over the year, and then ended up with the throwdown last weekend. And that's where it all started with the kayaks, just here recently. I'm no stranger to fishing, although I did take like I say, 20-year hiatus. Kids are all gone now. I told my wife I'm going to fish, and so that's what I'm doing.
Now she can't wait to get you out of the house now, right?
She has no problem in that. No.
Well, again, congratulations, Randy. You said you fished some local trails. What trails are you fishing right now? Where are you located in Texas, by the way?
I'm in Killeen, Texas. Like I say, I work in Georgetown, Texas. This suburbs kind of in the Austin area.
All right.
I fished the West Texas Kayak Trail.
Oh, nice.
This year, mainly because I grew up in the Abilene area and I was familiar with all the lakes. I was going to fish cats, but it doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. As you probably well know.
Yeah.
And then I put it up between Southeast Texas, Chris's Trail, and West Texas, and I picked West Texas over that because a couple of lakes in the southeast still, Sabine and Toledo, were just too far. Sabine and Fork, I guess.
Yeah.
And there was a few far ones. Lake Champion ain't a short drive by any stretch.
Yeah.
But and I fished the Andrew Jacobson. He started the Texas Kayak Open Series. It was just a three trail event, kind of a high stakes, higher payout, $150 entry fee, I believe it was. And he fished LBJ, I believe, Possum Kingdom, Houston County. And they're not going to have that anymore. That's a shame. They didn't get much participation in it, you know.
Yeah, it's been there for the last 2 years, but yeah, I think this is the last year.
Yeah, and I did fairly well in both of them. I qualified for the Classic in the West Texas. I finished, I think, 11th in Angler of the Year, and I didn't win any. I got, I think, 3 top 10s and a 16th and a 22nd, something like that. I've been close. I've fished some tournaments where I could have won, but either flops off the board or just not fishing clean. It's took me a while to get used to landing fish and catching fish in the kayak, even casting. It's all different. It's a different ball game.
What do you think is the biggest difference between fishing from a boat to a kayak? Not tournament, just in general.
To me, are you talking about tournament planning or just
no? Just in general.
To me, when I'm in a big boat, I stand up and fish, and I'll do that once in a while in a kayak, but it's the casting in initially the accuracy I had with casting sitting down was way off from what I could do standing up. Now I've gotten way better over it, mainly because I've been doing it for 2 years now, so I can pitch and place the lure pretty accurately now. To me, that was the biggest adjustment that I go through.
What about setting the hook? To me, I think it's always like setting the hook, just different.
I had to watch the straight overhand hook sets because I would hit the rods behind me. So if I missed the hook set, I would. So I've kind of gotten where I'll do it to the side or something now, and that you don't get as good a hook set in a kayak. There's no way.
Definitely not.
I found out at Lake Champion or Lake Brady, those fish are really deep in the brush, and you got to really get a good hook set on those fish, get their head turned, and get them out. And I was just losing too damn many fish in that stuff because I couldn't get the really good hook set. I've kind of got a method now down where I'm doing that better. Live and learn. Like I say, I'm learning at this stuff still. I'm by no means an expert in the kayak. I guarantee you.
Well, you bid 187 of the best anglers in Texas, so I'm saying you're doing pretty good at learning. So how does it feel to win this tournament? You did pretty good last year, right? You get in the top 10 last year. I think like fourth place.
I tied for fourth with Rolando, and he had a bigger fish, and I got the 5th place money.
All right, that's what I remember.
And this year, you know, if you go back to like 9 o'clock in the morning, I got like 2 little dinks, and that's it. And I had pre-fished that lake and done really well.
Stillhouse or Belton?
Sir?
Stillhouse or Belton? Which one did you?
Belton. I fished Belton. Oh. I like Belton. I picked it over Stillhouse because the grass in Stillhouse is just getting too much.
Yeah.
There's just way too much of it. It's really hard to, unless you get on some fish early on that lake, it's hard to pinpoint any fish later in the day. If you get a good early bite on Stillhouse, you can kind of stay on them, but it's hard to get that good early bite. I can't tell you how many times I've been in that lake and in just nothing in the morning.
It's Clearwater Lakes. I think it's a big struggle for me, and I think for a lot of anglers, because like you said, once, especially in Texas and at this time of the year, the water, even the temperature is relatively warm. I think that day was like 90 degrees. And when you get that Clearwater Lake and you have like 20 feet of visibility down, it just makes it really hard to fish on a bluebird sky day that's sunny and pretty warm, if not hot. So yeah, I can totally see that. Belton is just, it's so funny that those, like, I don't think they're even a mile apart.
They're completely opposite. So
and they're so opposite one from each other. One is total grass, and the other one is no grass where to be found.
There's not a lick of vegetation in Belton.
Did you caught any smallmouth bass?
In the tournament, no. I have caught smallmouth at Belton before, though.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. I think that was my biggest enjoyment of fishing that lake. I broke my personal best in smallmouth. Now, anybody that's listening that's from the north, you know, a 16 and a half and a 16-inch smallmouth bass is not overly big. Again, if you're closer to the north border. But for us, Texas, a 16 and a half and a 16-inch smallmouth bass, that's like catching a 20-inch largemouth bass. It's just not that prevalent. And it's funny how easy they were, like, pre-fishing and fishing the tournament, I caught like almost a dozen of them. I mean, they weren't all measurable, but I was like, man, this is a pleasant surprise. Just finally hooking to some meaningful smallmouth bass. You don't get a lot of those
They're
here
fun.
in
They're
Fort
fun.
Worth, Texas. We do have a lake here. Lake Grapevine holds, and it keeps being stocked with smallmouth bass, but I've never gotten anything even close to that big. So it was definitely fun. Well, tell me a little bit about what you found on pre-fish. How many days did you pre-fish? Just 1, 2, 3?
And I fished the Saturday before the tournament. Well,
Okay.
I fished 3 weeks ago, before the West Texas Classic
Okay.
tournament, and I did really well. I probably had about 82 inches. I caught fish till like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then fast forward 3 weeks later, I went to the same spot, but fished further up from where I left off, and got skunked. I mean, I caught 2 catfish, and that's it. And so I was kind of, oh man, I'm gonna do like crap in this tournament. So I went back Sunday, and I had a pretty good limit of about 80 inches by about 9 o'clock in the morning. And that area was the same area where I caught the fish the 3 weeks prior. So that's where I fished in the tournament. And like I say a while ago, at 9 o'clock, I didn't have much at all. And I got a 19-inch fish to hit, and about 30 or 40 minutes later, I caught another 19-inch fish. Well, one was 19 3/4, one was 19 and a half. And then I caught like a 10-inch, 10.5-inch fish to round that, what I had, up to 75 inches, and the bite shut off for a while. And about 1:30, it picked up again, and just fortunate enough, the last fish I caught is 2:55 p.m., 18 1/4 inch, and it gave me about 3 or 3.5 inches to my bag, and that's what put me in the lead. 5 minutes till 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was what was the bite like? Like, what were you catching them on? And if you don't mind saying, of course,
No,
like what type of geographic are you like? Are we fishing like deep ledges,
No,
beating the bank offshore? What was the structure that you're fishing like?
the structure I was fishing was the places up in Cowhouse arm of the lake. The creek channels are clearly marked by timber. This vertical timber that's sticking up about, right now it's sticking up about 4 or 5 feet, just straight like fence posts almost. Yep. And I'm fishing the mud flats. I was staying off the rocky banks altogether. I was fishing the mud bottoms, the slick bottoms, and concentrating on laydowns, mainly scattered ones. Okay, not where a whole bunch of them were all down a long bank, but a lay down out there by itself and nothing else within 20 feet of it all the way around. That's the kind of stuff I was concentrating on, kind of close to those, in about 4 to 6 feet of water, 2 to 6 feet of water. But within about 50 feet or so of most of that stuff, the water would drop down to 13 to 20 feet, depending on where I was. So all the stuff was fairly close, like I say, to a ditch or creek channel. And I concentrated on more of the isolated stuff.
So like more like what depth do you think you were catching them on? You said like 15, 20 feet or shallower?
No, 2 to 6 feet.
Oh, 2 to 6 feet. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And so what area of the lake were you fishing at? What did you launch for, if you don't mind me asking?
The paintball course on the west end of Bloor Park.
Oh, Bloor Park. Okay, west end of Bloor Park. Yeah, that's kind of similar to where I found them. I'm not that familiar with the lake, but I fished, I think, at the other side of Bloor Park. And it was I forgot the name of it, but some marina. I should have looked it up before I referenced it. But anyway, same thing, just like really shallow. Like I was literally, my first bite was on top water, and it was like literally 6 inches deep.
Yeah,
like
it was some very good shallow fish.
Yeah, they were really, really shallow. What bait worked for you the most?
I was using a 1/4 ounce underspin with a 2.5 inch, 3 inch zoom shad tail bait. Just a little 1/4 ounce underspin. That was the most productive bait early. I missed some on a buzz bait. They just completely missed the lure. I missed one on a popar. That was one I started out with, and the fish hit it, and it just threw the lure right up into a tree and snagged the limb. I had to go run the spot
I hate when that
and
happens.
get my lure off. And so I got rid of that and went to a buzzbait. They were hitting that shore. I went to underspin and caught the 2 real quick early. But I didn't, like I say, nothing else till about 9 a.m. And I went to a kind of a red flake, black red flake. I think it's 4-inch baby brush pig, Texas rigged.
So you went. So as the day went, as this day got warmer, you went more to like kind of finesse style, I guess.
Yeah, I was fishing.
Or-
I was fishing those shallow laydowns. I was getting right up in the middle of them with that brush pig, just kind of dragging it through slowly. I also had some good hits on a weightless worm or weightless rig, wacky rig.
Wacky rig, nice.
Yeah, but when the wind got up, it got too hard to fish that and the cast it good. So I went to I had a 1/4 ounce rig 3/0 hook, like I say, a black red flake creature bait, brush pig.
Nice. Yeah, it's kind of similar to what I never even got a chance to try the more like Texas rig and all that because I felt like the moving bait and the bait imitation was just doing so well that I was like, there's no need for me to finesse. But that was just what I was fishing. Mine was really my first one. My biggest fish came on the Whopper Plopper. So this is funny because on pre-fishing, I pre-fished Steelhouse Lake. I went upriver, struggled a lot. It was really dirty and muddy and really shallow. Same thing with Belton. The next week, and that was Friday. I went for whatever reason. I don't know. I figured out let me go more up north of the river, kind of like upriver, and see if I can get away from people. But sure enough, I had it to myself. But it was like less than an inch visibility. The water level was so low that all that silt on the bottom was just being churned up, and you couldn't see anything. So I finally went to where I ended up fishing, and again I forgot the name of that area, but it's Mid Lake, on the east side of the lake. And I was struggling. I ran into my good friend Charlie Wells, and I was like, "Man, I can't catch anything." And he was telling me, "Just look shallow, just stay really parallel to the shallow areas and the rocky areas." And sure enough, I just started paddling, not even casting. I could see smallmouth just coming up to corner bait fish and go back down. And I did that on pre-fishing. I had like an hour to pre-fish after all that, and I did caught some smallmouth bass with it. So I was thinking, okay, they're really coming up shallow. And on tournament day, that's all it was. It was shallow driving crankbait. So a whopper plopper first, that small one. So when I after Friday, I went up to a little store over there. I forgot the name of the store. It's a little trailer. Actually, pretty big trailer, but it's a mom and pop tackle shop. I wish I could remember the name because I would have given so much publicity and shout outs to them because they were a really nice couple, older couple. And anyways, they had a great selection, and I spent like $70 just on small bait fish lures. Anything that was small and looked like a bait fish. And that really killed it. It was everything that so the Whopper Plopper was the smallest one that you can get. I forgot the size of it or the name of it, but it's the Whopper Plopper, the really small one. The second bite that I got was I'm assuming it was a huge fish, judging by the pull on the line. But to me, what happened was I was re-rigging everything, even my leader lines. Like I change all my leader lines the day before the tournament just to make sure I get brand new leader lines and leader knots. And I was so tired that I was messing up the knot. And I remember thinking to myself, I shouldn't do this when I'm so tired. And sure enough, that second bite that I had was a big bite. The leader knot came undone, and I lost it. I lost more than a fish. I almost lost my mind. But after that, it was just crankbait, like you said, small underspin. Anything that was small and looked like a bait fish was getting bites.
Yeah, I really like that underspin lure in the fall time. It seems to do really good on almost everywhere I go this time of year.
Yeah, it's been it's been a tough transition. Like the last couple of weeks, the last month has been tough fishing here in Texas. I couldn't wait for the temperatures to drop, but it's got them on a funk for some whatever reason. Or maybe I just don't know what I'm doing, which is probably the most likeliest reason why I'm not catching them.
Both of those lakes have been super tough. Like I said, the Saturday before the tournament, I skunked. I didn't catch a single bass, not one. I mean, not even a dink, not a single bass.
Yeah.
And I just got fortunate enough to find an area that was holding some fish and just stayed on it. Because like I say, when they shut down, it was a couple hour period where I didn't get anything, and about 1:30, I cold 3 fish from 1:30 to 2:55. So
that's awesome. So when did you realize? Because as soon as I got to the not the captain's meeting, but the award ceremony, even before the raffle started, which is before the actual ceremony, award ceremony, I already heard it's like, oh, Randy Dodson won it. Somebody told me, it's like, oh no, he won it. He got. I see somebody told me you got like 92 inches, but then turns out
that's my fault. What happened was when I caught that 18.25, I never even saw the leaderboard because the app was messing up. And when I loaded my fish up, the leaderboard was shut off. Okay. So I never knew what anyone else had. And I never knew what mine was added up except in my head. And I thought I was culling like a 12.5-inch fish, but I was culling a 14.25-inch fish.
Oh, okay.
So the difference between an inch and a quarter or whatever it was is instead of 89, I thought I had 91.5 or 92, but I was an inch and a half less than that. So 89.75.
So when did you realize you win it? When they announced it, or you knew already before that you pretty much had won it?
Eric Porter told me about 10 minutes before they started naming off the places. When they started announcing like 18th, 17th, he came and told me. He came and told me that I won. I had 89.75. That 88.75 was second. And I told him, yeah, I had added it up on my phone, and I realized I didn't have 92. And like I said, that was my fault. But, I just thought I was culling a different fish than I was. So,
well, regardless, you won, and you got the check that goes with it as well. How did you feel once you find out you won?
Oh, I was pretty happy. I was it's a mixed emotion. I've won tournaments before. I've never won one. I'd say this prestigious. This many anglers. Most of what I've won before is smaller tournaments, trail tournaments, and bass club tournaments, stuff like that. It still feels good anytime you win something. But I've never won anything of this magnitude with 187 anglers. Not anything even close.
Especially
I haven't fished a whole lot though of them either. So.
And especially considering the talent level, I know it's Texas Trail, but I mean, pretty much everyone that's dominated in the national trail from Texas, other than Guillermo Gonzalez, which he was fishing on Pickwick. But everybody else, like Matthew Scott, J.R. Maccabee, who won it last year, Rolando Nandin was there, Jeremiah Smith. I mean, there was just a bunch of anglers. I don't know if Brian Scarberry was there as well. I think he was, but I'm not sure. But anyways, regardless, it was just
at the Throwdown this year.
Yeah,
it was
it was stacked.
There were a bunch of good anglers there.
Yeah. So to win that tournament, I put it just equal to winning like a national trail. Not many national trails get 187 anglers, especially with that caliber of talent that we have here in Texas. So it's, I mean, I don't see it any different. So how much was the actual price, if you don't mind me asking?
The prize money?
Yeah.
I was told it was $23.50, $21.50 for first and $200 for King of the Region.
No, that's no problem. That's not nice. I mean, that's not bad at all.
I would get would be $23.50. That's
not bad at all.
But like I said, I haven't got anything yet. But
yeah, still, like I mentioned in the intro, they're still working out. Again, that whole mess with iAngler, and I pray to God Duke Trent just stops using that, because it's a mess. Every time I fish a tournament, I've had a problem with that app.
It's been bad for me the past 3 or 4 times. West Texas uses it. Central Texas uses it. I fish. I forgot I fished some of their about 4 of their events also. And I fish a little bit of the little what do you call them, charity events here and there. I don't ever pre-fish those. If I'm gonna go fishing and there's a $30 or $40 tournament in the neighborhood, I'm gonna go ahead and fish it.
There you go.
That's the way I look at it.
What's your favorite fish down in West Texas? I mean, your favorite fishery or lake, river, whatever.
I would have to say Lake Leon is probably my favorite.
Lake Leon, yeah, they have that on the Slay Nation tour.
I don't know if you really call that West Texas, but it's that's a hell of a lake right there.
Yeah, that is. I think one of my first tournaments with Slay Nation was on Lake Leon. I didn't catch anything, but yeah, it is a really nice lake.
You catch that lake when it's full, and you won't want to fish anywhere else. It can be that good.
How far is Lake Leon from where you live?
Leon isn't that bad. It's 100 and I want to say 159 miles. Something.
That's not that bad.
It's not that bad at all. I'm gonna go to Choke Canyon for the first time Saturday. It's 230 miles. It's about a 4-hour drive. So.
Oh yeah.
I've never been there. I want to fish that lake so damn bad.
I think my good buddy Albert fishes from Choke Canyon. Is it? I have to find out because I know I always get it confused. Choke Canyon and Canyon Lake. I always get those two lakes confused. So, but you saying you're gonna fish Choke Canyon or Canyon Lake?
Choke Canyon. I'm gonna go Choke Canyon Saturday. Me and another guy are gonna Jerry Lalonde, a friend of mine. We're gonna meet up there Saturday and see if we can. I'd like to see an alligator. To be honest with you, and catch a few bass on top of that.
You want to see an alligator?
Never seen one.
Oh man!
As much as I fish, I've never seen a damn alligator.
You got to go to Sam Rayburn. There's some pretty historic monsters over there. Somebody posted just the last week or this week a picture of just like an enormous alligator just hanging out by the bank, and I was like, "Good Lord, I've ran into a couple of like big alligators in Lake Fork, and granted, I haven't heard from anybody that has been attacked by an alligator here in Texas. My whole thing with that is once you encounter like a 12, 15-foot alligator, you realize you're there until they decide you're on their menu. Like I feel uncomfortable knowing that I'm on a little plastic boat, and if at any time this alligator decides he's gonna have me over for dinner, there's really nothing I can do about it. Like I was like, I'm living under his terms, and that kind of makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, there's no way I would go to Choke Canyon by myself the first time. Like I said, I've never been there, so I had to find someone to go with me. We're gonna see if we can gather up a few more and make a deal out of it Saturday. Though.
Yeah, it's I've never been to Choke Canyon, so I'm really excited to go there. But yeah, I think Albert fishes out of Canyon Lake is the one he fishes out of. But it's a pretty. We're blessed when you live in Texas and you love bass fishing because there's so many fisheries around here that just hold gigantic bass, and now we got lakes that are stocked with good smallmouth bass. Nothing like you would get, I guess, in Ohio or Portland or even the Susquehanna, but still you can get some decent smallmouth bass here as well. So.
Yeah, you bring that up. It didn't used to be that way. I mean, if you look back in the 80s, I don't know how long you've been bass fishing, but it was rare to catch a 10-pound plus bass. Anyway,
yeah.
there was just a couple, 3-4 lakes in the state of Texas, and you can just about go to any lake in the state of Texas and have a legitimate chance catching a 10-pound bass.
Yep.
What the Parks and Wildlife done with the fisheries in this state is amazing.
Yeah. No,
in the past 30 years.
And that's one thing that Texas Park and Wildlife Department is. I mean, that's probably the best government organization we have here in Texas because they really know what they're doing. By the way, if anybody hasn't watched it yet, that kind of documentary nature film that came out, I think Matthew McConaughey is the one oh my God, I forgot how to say that word. Narrating that documentary. That is a great documentary. I mean, it really I was really like proud to be a Texan, just knowing the diversity of wildlife that we have here. So I thought it was really interesting. Have you watched that one lately? It just came out.
No, I don't believe I've seen that. No,
It's really
I've
good.
seen some other stuff, but I don't believe I caught that one. I'll look for it though.
Yeah, I think it's on. It came out on limited theaters here in Texas, but I think now you can watch it on streaming services.
My wife watch anything with Matthew McConaughey in it. So.
Oh, there you go. Well, he's not. Just tell her. Just warn her. He's not there. He's just his voice.
Oh, it's just his voice.
Just his voice. He's narrating on it, but it's but it's pretty good. It's really good. It kind of makes you glad that you live in Texas, because there's a lot of like wildlife, and that's one of the things that I love about wildlife, about kayak fishing. You get to see a lot more wildlife because you're more like quiet. You don't have that big motor just speeding along the bank. It's just you. You can go deeper creeks, and even like this tournament, I mean, I hadn't seen so much deer, and I was surprised how much deer there was at that lake. It was like everywhere, deer everywhere. It's like, man, God, it's like, I guess they're not allowed to hunt them here next to the lake or something. They were everywhere. So It was cool.
When we went to San Angelo, OC Fisher, I don't know if you ever heard of OC Fisher Lake.
No, I haven't.
In San Angelo. But by pulling in, you got to pay to stuff an envelope, put it in a little box and everything, and I'm going there. About 8 wild pigs cross the road in front of me. And then a couple deer, and then there's a porcupine. It's the first time I've ever seen a porcupine in my damn life.
Really? On
Sitting
Texas?
in the road, right in the middle of the road. And I'm like, what is that? And I get out, it's a damn porcupine.
That is awesome. I haven't seen one.
Out. Sir?
I haven't seen one of them.
I've never seen
Not
one.
in Texas.
That's the only one I've ever seen ever. It was more like I was going through a zoo than getting to the ramp, though. There was so much damn animals.
I fished Fairfield Lake. Have you ever fished Fairfield Lake?
No, it's Central Texas.
You got to fish that lake.
They changed it to Stillhouse, and they said they'll never do that again.
you got to fish Fairfield Lake. It's an amazing fishery. I mean, it's just humongous bass. But don't make the same mistake that I meant, that I was misinformed about the areas where it says do not trespass, do not fish. I was told that because the power plant was decommissioned that you can fish that area, but later find out that you're not allowed to fish that area, even though the power plant is decommissioned. But I did, because again, and I apologize to the Rangers that day because I had some bad information. But I did get into those creeks, and I saw what I had to Google it because I did not understand what I was looking at. I thought it was a raccoon, but it didn't really look like a raccoon. So while I'm looking at it, I'm Googling it. It would turn out to be like a ringtail something. Was it ringtail monkey or something like that? It's not a monkey, but it's called, forgot what it was. Never seen it in Texas. Turns out they're really abundant in that area. And
it's very ringtail.
I'm going to look it up real quick. Ringtail. Ringtail cat. That's what it's called. It's a ringtail cat. I've never seen one before. I was blown away when I saw it because it has kind of like the tail of a raccoon, but it's really slender, has big eyes. And I saw it and I was like, that is not a raccoon. What is that? So I looked it up and I was looking at it while I was Googling it. I think I Googled like Texas wildlife critters and I finally found it, and I was matching it when I'm looking on the phone to what I was looking, just walking under trees, and it turned out to be a ringtail cat. So I was blown away by that. So love to see wildlife here. It's one of the perks of being here in Texas.
Yes, I've been trying to talk my wife into buying her a kayak and her going, or she won't have nothing of it. I tell her it's just worth it to be out there and see the sunrise come up and watch Mother Nature wake up, and that's what it's all about, man.
The last time, so I had 2 kayaks. I'll tell you why I had to sell the second kayak. Because I took my wife kayak bass fishing, small little lake over here in Fort Worth, Texas. Mariners. No, what's the name of that lake? Forgot about it. It's the one here by TCC. But anyways, we got on the lake, and sure enough, this like huge water moccasin just swimming right up to the kayak where she's at. Is trying to get on top. She's trying for whatever reason, and I've seen that happen before. For whatever reason, the snakes want to get on your kayak, especially water moccasins. I don't know why. but it was swimming right to her. Got up to the edge and wanted to get on the kayak. My wife freaked out and like, "Yep, you can sell my kayak. I'm not using that thing anymore." So yeah. So, anyways, that's the reason why I don't have two kayaks. But you ever had that happen before? Have a water moccasin come up to your kayak and try to get on?
Not on my kayak. I used to in West Texas back in the 80s. Inner tube fishing was real popular.
Oh yeah,
and snakes used to pop up on top of those once in a while.
oh yeah, no. I started doing that in Lake Lavon and then started kayak fishing. And once I saw what alligators and gator gars, and I know gator gars are not gonna harm you, but if I'm on a little tube, like tube fishing, whatever they call it, and I see a 4 foot, 6 foot gator gar, I'm gonna freak out. I don't care if that thing's not gonna harm me. It's like, no, I'm not interested. Too scared for that.
I have had a snake in my kayak when I left the kayak overnight.
Oh, really?
When I camped out, and I had a snake in it the next morning.
When did you notice it?
After I got in the kayak, it got out.
My God.
Flivered out.
Oh, so was it a venomous snake or just
no? It was just a regular water snake, diamondback water snake.
Damn, did you freak out?
Yeah.
Well, and
I beached it and looked in there real good and make sure there wasn't any more.
I bet. Marcus Coates last year on the Bass Nation Kayak Series in Lake Fork, that was 2021. He had like a small adolescent gator get up on his kayak, like literally get on his kayak. That's where I was like, nope, nah, I don't care how small that gator is, not getting on my kayak. That is not so. So hopefully that won't happen to you, Randy, when you go to Canyon Lake to check out the gators. But be aware they might get on your kayak, especially the small ones. They're just curious.
Yeah, I can't wait to fish that lake. I've been wanting to fish that a while. Everyone tells me how it's super fishery, but everyone mentions the alligators to be sure on that thing.
Yeah, Central and Southeast Texas has a little bit more alligators than I'm comfortable with. We have a few here in Fort Worth.
San Antonio's got a tournament coming up on it next month, and then Chris is going to have one. He had the Central Division. I don't know. You probably know about that. With the Southeast with the new Texas Kayak Bass League.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw their schedule.
Choke Canyon's on there as well for that. So I've never been on it, and 2 tournaments coming up I plan on fishing. So I'm going to get on and look at it anyway.
Yeah, man. This is going to be fun. So, Randy, I've had you for almost 45 minutes. I really want to thank you for taking the time to come up to the podcast. Again, congratulations. What do you have? Like you just mentioned a couple of tournaments, but what about next year? Are you planning? Have you ever thought of doing any national trails that come close to Texas or in Texas? What are your plans for next season?
There's a couple of guys in West Texas, Dale Griffin and Jake Manus that fish the Hobie boats.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't fish all of them. I think Dale's in the classic that they're having at Ghetto. And Jake didn't qualify. He needed to fish one more tournament, and he just couldn't make it. But if they have the ones in Texas, I'm gonna fish a couple of those. They told me it's like a $360 entry fee. So it's
not that bad. No, it's not that bad. I think it's 265.
Maybe he said 260 then. I thought he said 360.
No, 260. No, it's not that. No, it's not 360.
The ones that are in Texas next year, I'm gonna fish those and just check it out, see how I do. Other than that, I'm gonna fish West Texas. I'm gonna fish the Central Division of the TKBL, and Houston County on the eastern side of that division. That's all I've got lined up right now. And like I say, I'm always if something's in the area, whether it's a charity tournament for Christmas on Fayette or what have you, if I got the time, I'm gonna go do it. So I enjoy it. I'll be out there.
Well, Randy, I don't know if you have any sponsors, but I always like to give my guests a couple of minutes to thank anybody they want to thank, whether you have a sponsor, your wife, family, friends. If you want to thank anybody for helping you with your kayak fishing.
A list. It's sponsored for the West Texas Kayak Trail. I wanted to mention those.
Yeah, of course. Take your time.
We got Army Roustabout, Proline Marine in San Angelo, Peels Marine in Odessa, Happy Trails Outdoors in San Angelo, 4540 Construction in San Angelo. We got a lot of San Angelo sponsorship. That's where a lot of the guys are from. But these cats take really good care of our tournament circuit. They're really good to us.
That's awesome.
We try to do business with them anytime we can.
That's awesome.
That's all I got with that, though.
Well, thank you again, Randy, for sharing that. And again, congratulations on your big win. I hope to see you in the water soon. If not on a tournament, at least fun fishing somewhere. And best of luck to you for the remaining of the season and next season.
Yeah, you too. It was nice talking to you, and I hope to see you out on the water also.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you. Have some tight lines, man.
Tight lines. For those out there listening, if you made it this far, I want to thank you for listening. If you're going to be on the water, as always, wear your PFDs. I mentioned this because I know the name of the podcast is Bass, Kayak, and Beers. That doesn't mean I encourage people to drink while they're on the water. But if you're going to be out kayak fishing, you're going to crack open a couple of beers, whatever you want to do. Just make sure you drink responsible, wear your PFDs, and make it back home to your loved ones. So on behalf of my sponsor, Douglas Rods, thank you for having me. Thank you, Randy Dodson, for joining us. Have a great weekend, everybody. Peace out.